Many cities and towns in the Low Country are still dealing with COVID-related issues, including the town of James Island. Today, I talk one-on-one with Mayor Bill Woosley for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. James Island Mayor Bill Woosley, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Glad to be here.
Oh, I
Thanks
appreciate
for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Brought you back on because obviously there's so many issues that a lot of towns and cities across South Carolina are dealing with amid this health outbreak. And from my understanding is this: when you became mayor at some point in time, you made a decision to zero out property taxes reportedly for towns by using the local option sales tax to pay down the town millage. How long have that been going on?
It's been going on since 2015, and so it's included in our town budget every year.
That's good to hear. And are there any other municipalities in the county that are actually doing this?
Not that I know of. The town of James Island is unique in using its local option sales tax to offset a millage. But there are several municipalities in Charleston County, including Seabrook Island, Kiowa, Ravenel, that don't collect millage at all. So they're like in the town of James Island, the town millage is zero. But it's important to understand that in some of these other municipalities, as well as the town, we have an additional tax district that provides public services. And for the town, it's the James Island Public Service District. And so the people of the town, while they don't pay any millage to the town, they pay millage to the James Island Public Service District, which provides fire and solid waste collection. And so other municipalities like the city of Charleston or the city of Mount Pleasant, those services are provided by town millage. And so it is, it's to be expected that they have to have higher millage and collect more than the town.
Okay. And if the town of James Island property taxes are zero out with the lost funds, I understand that the town of James Island collects no property taxes. But what I know is that the majority of the property taxes levied on the town residents are by the James Island Public Service District. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Can you explain to me too, Mayor, if these James Island Public Service District taxes have gone up over the years, and where are we with that right now?
Well, the James Island Public Service District taxes went up about 13% about 2 years ago, and they've stayed the same since. I'm not sure where they'll go this year, but I believe that their plan is to keep them the same on the whole.
And I know that the James Island Public Service District Commission, which serves the town, as you mentioned, instituted a rollback, from my understanding, on their millage due to reassessment recently. How can they really do that with a new fire station that is going to be opening, and there are so many wastewater and drainage needs on the island?
Well, the James Island Public Service District doesn't deal with drainage at all. And they do deal with wastewater, but wastewater is paid for by sewer bills. It is not paid for by the property tax at all. Now, the fire station and the fire service and also our garbage service is covered by the property tax millage. And while they roll back the millage, the value of the properties in the public service district increased. Now, I don't have the figures of how much it increased in the public service district, but in the town, the property values increased 10%. And so the property tax rollback means that they don't reduce how much money they collect. It means they would collect the same amount. If they fully rolled back their millage, they would collect the same amount.
And I'm just wondering, how did the town of James Island can roll back and neutralize taxes when the town is facing so many challenges and other towns and cities are slightly raising taxes to bring in more revenue to address these changes for the residents?
Well, the town of James Island has never directly collected property tax. As I've said before, the James Island Public Service District collects property tax in the town, and so the people of the town are not undertaxed. And the town has other sources of revenue that we use to address drainage issues and other problems.
Okay. And will you continue to, for the rest of your particular term in office, 3 years I believe you have left, to push for zeroing out of the town's property taxes?
Yes, that would be my position. When the town was formed, those of us who supported the town always argued that it wasn't really necessary for the town to collect property tax. And we haven't yet. Now, people who oppose the town, including former City of Charleston Mayor Joe Riley said that that was just not going to happen, that the town would actually be raising their taxes, and soon taxes for the people in the town of James Island would surpass those of the city of Charleston. Well, that hasn't happened, and it doesn't need to happen. The town has other sources of revenue besides property tax, so it is not necessary for the town to raise taxes.
And with pushing forward to zeroing out the town's property taxes, is it really realistic in your mind?
Well, we have been doing this for the last 5 years, and so it is completely possible. And the town receives sales tax revenue equal to that amount which we spend.
Okay.
And so it's just that the town does not directly collect property tax. And again, the people of our town do pay to property tax to the James Island PSD, and their taxes are not lower than, say, they're not lower than the city of Folly Beach or the city of Mount Pleasant, or the town of Mount Pleasant. Now, they are somewhat lower than the city of Charleston, but other municipalities of similar size, or have similar taxes. And again, while I agree that the town has many challenges, we have other sources of funds that we use to address drainage and to address sidewalks and road repairs and all the things that our town needs to do.
And what are those sources right now, Mayor?
Well, we have several sources of revenue, and one is the state aid to local governments. We receive business licenses. We have the hospitality tax, which we use for improvements in the Folly Road area. Just recently, it's been authorized to use those funds for drainage in tourist areas, which for us, I would say, would be the Folly Road area as well, especially. And then we receive what's called brokers and insurance tax, which is very similar. It's a kind of business license tax. We have a stormwater utility fee, and then there's a local option sales tax. And all of those together provide sufficient funds for the town to operate.
And I know one thing that the town has been praised for is building new sidewalks for residents, that is. What exactly is your next sidewalk project?
Well, right now, our next step is working on Dills Bluff Road, and we have a multi-segment plan for sidewalks along Dills Bluff Road, eventually getting us a connectivity to a Harborview Road. But right now, our next step is between Winborn Drive and Seaside Lane. So right now, our sidewalks along Dills Bluff and at Seaside, and we're working to extend them to Winborn.
And I know you wanted hotels on Folly Road, from my understanding, to be considered via a special exception at the BZA. And I understand the town council said no to hotels, even with a special exception. And I know that you have much less hospitality tax funds and revenues coming in. What is your plan for that?
So the town has a surplus in our hospitality tax fund because of monies that we've collected in the past. And so we really do not have to slow our current planned expenditures. And while I did believe that having one or maybe two hotels on Folly Road would be desirable, that will not happen, but that will not reduce our hospitality tax revenues. It just means that the possible increase that we would generate from that is not going to happen.
And what would
so we still continue to get the hospitality tax revenues. The reason why they would be reduced is because of COVID and reduced sales by our restaurants. Some of the restaurants actually that we have in the town are doing unusually well in the last year. Places such as Bojangles or Chick-fil-A, sort of fast food places. Other restaurants, of course, have more challenges that they're normally a sit-down experience, which they're going to doing takeout and doing just outside dining and more limited dining. So there's been a slowdown, but the town continues to collect hospitality fund revenue, and the expenditures we had planned this year we can continue because we have money we've been collecting for the last several years.
And what are those expenditures?
Well, so one major expenditure that the town is going to undertake with hospitality tax funds is paying for a share of sidewalks along Folly Road. And so that project is currently being managed by Charleston County Transportation. The town really got that ball rolling a few years ago, and it's moving towards construction. We can't expect to see the sidewalks at least for another year. But the town is contributing $400,000 to that expense, as is the city of Charleston is contributing an equal amount, and Charleston County out of the transportation taxes contributing slightly less. And then we have a grant that we got through the COG, a federal grant for sidewalks that is about, I believe, $1.5 million.
Wow. And,
so that is being funded in that way. So that would be a major expenditure of our hospitality tax funds.
And I know that in most of my interviews with Quintin's co-subs, I've asked a lot of the mayors this, but what are the latest figures for the population of the town, the city, and the county on James Island?
Well, for several months, we got more or less daily reports on the active cases on James Island. But DHEC quit providing those figures about a month and a half ago. And so now we're getting them every couple of weeks. And the most recent figure I have is we had 40 active cases on James Island. And the peak was in June of about 369. And it, began going down from that point. And when the daily figures quit arriving, we were down to about 80. And now, again, the most recent figures I have are 40 for James Island. These are residents of James Island that have tested positive in the last 14 days. And so those are what we interpret as being people that are probably currently infected.
And if you were to sit down with somebody from the Chamber of Commerce and you lay out the population for 2018 for James Island, what would you tell them?
What I believe the population for the town of James Island will be in 2018.
Or 2018. 2018.
2 years ago.
Yes, sir. What was the population in 2018? What's the biggest difference between 2018 and now with the population when you think of the city, the town, and the county on James Island?
So right now, the town of James Island makes up about a quarter of the population, and we have about 12,000 people.
Okay.
And the unincorporated area is a slightly lower population, though about the same land area of the town is unincorporated. And all those areas used to be in the town.
Right.
Before 2012, well, before 2011. And then about half of James Island is in the city of Charleston, and they have about half the population.
And I know you talked
about the total population is close to 40,000. And so about 20,000 are in the city. Well, it's 12,000 in the town and maybe 8,000 in the unincorporated area. Those are approximately our figures.
With all these people moving to the town, Mayor, how do you deal with growth with smart growth?
Well, so there's very few people that are actually moving to the town, and it's people that are moving into the city of Charleston. So a lot of the vacant property was annexed to the city of Charleston because the owners wanted to sell it to developers who could put a lot of dense growth there, and that process has slowed down, but that development continues to occur. And so most of the growth in population on James Island has been in the city. And, we advocate with the city to try to reduce their density and follow our approach. But, and there has been some slowdown in development in this city, but it's still going on every day.
Where was the dense growth prior to COVID?
Well, most of the area where we are having heavy growth in the on James Island is, again, outside of the city, but in the Folly Road area and along Maybank Highway.
Right. And let me turn to politics. Are you running in 2023?
I haven't made that decision yet.
Okay. When exactly will you do that?
Probably much closer to 2023.
Okay. Well, James Island Mayor Bill Woosley, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Quintin.
Yeah, anytime.